Hey everyone, welcome to the Wikid Podcast, Wikid Weekend Podcast number 10. We got a couple Wikid creators in with us. We got Jeremy Lott and Scott. Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going well.
Good.
Thanks
Good
for
to be
joining
here.
us today. We're gonna be talking comics all for the next hour and a little more, and just kind of going over campaigns and what's coming up this month. We got a lot of big, exciting Indiegogo and Kickstarters coming up, and so let's go ahead and dive into it.
Okay.
Jeremy, I know since you're probably the one coming up first, why don't we kind of go start with you?
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna launch the Indiegogo for Movie Men on April 1st, and it's not a joke. Though we may have like an April Fool's special or something for people who get it the first day. Yeah, it's just it'll be the Movie Men comic. We'll probably, we'll do multiple tiers, so it'll be the Movie Men comic plus some add-ons, and we'll see what people think of that.
Now, with that, what kind of tiers and different perks are you kind of thinking out right now?
Well, you guys came up with a really good idea the last time for I don't know if it'd be a perk or a stretch goal, so you got to play around with that, but I would get some fake Movie Men tickets made up to give out to people as part of this. I think that's a good idea. But I mean, traditionally what you want to do is you go with digital, which is the cheapest, but also the no frills, right? And sometimes you just do that in black and white, but in this case it'd be color. And then you just go with just the comic, and then you go with the comic plus a poster or print or something, and then you go with the comic plus the poster or print and then the T-shirt. Is traditionally kind of how that goes. I'll probably do something similar to that. Then you also want to have something higher than that. So I'll probably have a tier where someone can be a cameo in the book as well.
Oh shoot, that'd be pretty fun for the first issue then.
Yeah, because there's 16. You guys have seen and they're done. 16 pages are done. We're doing 4 additional pages just to kind of decompress it a little bit. And there's going to be police officers in a couple of those pages, and I think I'll let someone, if they want to be the almost arresting officer of the Movie Men, they can throw in for that.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like I really love the concept of the movie, Jim, just because I feel like it's not something that we've really seen in comics.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, and I work with artist Doug Curtis, and I really like his stuff, and it's cartoony and a bit it's sort of a horror cartoony style, I would say, and he just does a really good job. I'm in I'm in Maui right now. My last day of vacation here. We're going to be flying back, and on the plane back, I'm going to try to write the last 4 pages.
Oh wow, really?
I actually jumped the gun and had an idea for the beginning of the second story, Movie Men, and got him working on that, which you should never do, but I did it.
It's hard not to sometimes. You kind of want to get to the next one. You're so excited about it.
Yeah, exactly. I came up with a good opening and just said, okay, let's, I wrote it treatment style in that case. So I just said, here's what should happen. But I was pretty specific about the dialogue and the treatment, and just sent it to him and said, how many pages is this? And he goes, I think it's 6. And I go, okay, let's start, drawing those then.
Really?
Yeah.
I do kind of like his style. It kind of has like a old like Johnny Quest throwback feel to it.
Yeah. I don't know. He's very good, and I'm very happy to be working with him.
How'd you guys kind of meet and start working together?
So I don't know the number. I think it's 7. There's like 7 different Facebook groups that I'm a member of that deal with comics. He was a regular on a couple of those groups, and we started interacting, and I saw some of his work, and then just hit him up. I think I DM'd him or called him or something, and it just sort of went from there.
Oh, it's funny how that kind of comes about, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, he's a fellow, hardcore comics geek from way back. So, who did a good job, working on his drawing skills. He does a couple of uh, web comics as well. I'll get the names and stuff of those for a little later.
Okay, yeah, that'd be cool. I'll link them in the chat.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. That's how the mechanics of how that came about. And the movie Men, I think I said before, it just started when at Regal Cinemas when they put their new uniforms in, they looked a little bit like X-Men uniforms, and I thought, huh, what if? And in my mind just kind of did things from there.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Nice. And then Scott, you've got a campaign coming up as well. I know it's not necessarily nailed down yet with the date, but
Yeah,
what can
we're
you
still
tell us
working.
about that?
So it feels like I'm not moving, but I am moving forward. I've showed you guys a couple of works in progress. So I'm actually working with. I don't think I've announced my artist yet. Her name is Drew Smith, Druzella on Twitter.
Let me link her in the chat for you.
Yeah, go ahead and I was gonna do that, but thank you.
You're welcome.
And so what she's working on right now is we've got a work in progress on the first page. Hopefully we should have that up by the end of next week. And then she's going to be working on character sketches. I'll be sharing all of that with you guys. The plan is we're going to do a variant cover just for the Kickstarter. And the idea is that we might even do a print of that, so that the people who do back us, they get the special cover, but people who might like the art can also get that as like a print or something later. And to go with what Jeremy was going on, some of the things we're thinking of is the digital, the print. We were going to do signed copies since I'm close to you there, so we make that a possibility. And artist is actually offered to do commission slots, and we might have a few cameo slots as well.
Cool.
Yeah, I really like the artist that you've got. I know you haven't shared yet with the kind of the public yet, but yeah, I'm really digging the look of it.
Yeah, like she's great. I'm lucky to have her. One of the things I like about her, she's always seems to be like one step ahead of me. Like, oh, you want to do this? Yes, exactly. Thank you. And I really appreciate that in my artist. And the other thing is I like that I'm giving her a shot to do this, and she's not a well-known thing, and it's also going to look a lot different than everything else that Wikid is doing as well. So I'm not just grabbing one of the same artists and we're all looking at the same thing.
Yeah, a lot of that's what's so cool about all the guys at Wikid is that everyone's project is so unique. There's no two comics alike, really.
Yeah, and I wanted to keep with that spirit.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. That's exciting. Have you thought about what kind of tiers and stuff you might do?
I was just listing off some of the tiers. I was even thinking of doing a 2-copy tier, one signed, one unsigned, so that way you have that one that you can kind of put up on your wall, and then one you can flip through if you want.
Interesting. Yeah. Any variant cover ideas?
Oh yeah.
Are variant covers still look popular?
They seem to so, but
because I know people complain about them constantly.
Well, they do. They complain about them in the stores, but you put these up on a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo, they seem to, if you have, at least if they're good, they tend to sell fairly well.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, and the cool thing is we have the ideas for the variant covers, or for the variant cover and the original cover. The artist actually pitched me her idea for the regular cover, and I really liked it because part of the origin is you kind of have like the source, and then you have like the catalyst that brings out the power in our main character. So the variant cover is going to kind of cover the source, like where it kind of started, and then her idea was the catalyst, like the right before the event that kind of kicks off this whole chain of events. So you kind of have that link between the two covers.
Cool.
That's interesting. Yeah. And okay, so we got a couple Indiegogos. We got a couple Kickstarters coming up. So besides all the crowd, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I also I finished up a children's book while I was out here.
Oh wow, really?
Oh, nice.
Creating a children's book.
Yeah, I mean I've written it. It's over
12,000.
Go ahead.
12,000 pages?
No, to the
words.
words.
Sorry, I mean words. Yeah.
Yeah, it's over 12,000 words. That puts it just somewhere close to Diary of a Wimpy Kid territory in word count.
Okay, so it's more like a novel then, or like a short, young, like a junior novel, or
it'd be considered a chapter book.
Okay, yes, a chapter book. Yes.
So you're looking at like boxcar children.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, nice.
And earlier this year I was at for my day job I was at just a function, and I was talking about some of my comic stuff, but I also let slip that my wife is pregnant and it's a girl, right? And,
wow.
And a friend, thank you. And a friend of mine said, "Well, do you have any of these stories that you're working on? Are they for girls?" And I said, "No, they aren't, and I'm going to go fix that." And so I literally just walked out of that place, went back to my room, and started writing a story called Princess Sparrow and the Three Gifts. And I got, something like half of it done, and then came here on vacation, and my shoulder has been acting up something fierce, and so in one white hot rage of a day, I just wrote basically close to half of it. And just got it done, and I'm sending it out to people to right now, and just saying, or if you'll read this with your kids, I'll send it to you. And I'm trying to get I don't know 100 people or something to give me feedback on it, and I'll hit that pretty easily. And we'll see where it goes from there. I'm also sent the story out to several artists and just said, give me some concept sketches based on whatever character is in this that strike your fancy, so that I can figure out what I want to do for illustrations.
So yeah, it brings an interesting point. Since it is a chapter book, do you plan to do like illustrations throughout the book?
Yeah, I just don't know. There's different strategies for that.
Right, totally.
Yeah, and so what I decided to do is to sort of outsource my thinking on the subject. So I've sent it to, I think, 4 or 5 artists now, and I'll send it to a few more. And I, just offer them a little bit of money and just say, give me 2 pages of illustrations. Just whatever strikes you, any of the characters here that strike your fancy, just draw them and write their name next to it. And, I'll then have several different, I'll probably, I'm sure some of the artists will draw the same characters, and I'll have different iterations of the same characters, and some of them it'll just be one of that character. Some I may have to go, ask for someone to do characters that people just didn't decide to sketch. But yeah, so I'll be working on that, as well as the Movie Men and some other stuff.
That's cool. Interesting. Yeah, I was gonna say it's an interesting idea, because you mentioned there's a couple ways you could do it, and I'm finishing up editing on a light novel style book, and something that I've noticed in pretty much all the light novels that I've read from Japan is that they tend to do black and white. This part's not really the color versus black and white. That's not really necessarily the big part, but they usually do illustrations throughout the book, of course. But then they'll do a set of illustrations right at the beginning that almost are like an introduction to the characters, to kind of say who are we going to be seeing in the next. So you'll have like,
oh, that's cool. So it's like a visual. It's like a visual index of characters then.
Yeah, pretty much. Like you'll get them in like a scene, or you might get just on their own, and then you have some dialogue on the page, maybe a conversation or something, and it kind of gives you an idea of what all the characters are before you really dive into the book itself.
Okay, well that's cool.
It's kind of interesting. It's an interesting way to do it. And in those light novels, they usually have those be colored pages, and then the rest be black and white.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's maybe to save money or something, but who knows? But it could just be stylized, I suppose.
I'll bet it's. I would bet money has something to do with it. Just because, if you look at manga, and I understand light novels are slightly different, but I mean, it's really geared. They care about price points. They
Really?
really are trying. They do try to keep the prices low and get it out to as many people as they possibly can.
That's actually pretty smart. Yeah. And I guess that's why, they have that black and white,
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to get out a black and white comic every week than it is a color comic, probably.
Yeah. Well, they use newsprint on a lot of this stuff, right? Whereas in American comics, with the exception of like Alterna and a few others, newsprint has been largely abandoned. But it's a much cheaper way of printing the stuff and getting it out to people.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Alterna has that newsprint program now, the printing partnership program.
Yeah.
We haven't used it yet. I'm kind of curious about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were looking at that. Wasn't it more of like a bulk order thing, though?
Yeah, I believe the minimum is 500 comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
I would kind of like to try some. I mean, I don't know if for this campaign or another, but I'd like to try where the Indiegogo or the Kickstarter or whatever is premium, but then after that, the edition that's available to everyone else is newsprint. So the guys that paid a bunch of money get a nicer product, but everybody else still gets a good thing.
Yeah, no, I could really see that. Yeah, and from what I mean, I've seen some alternative books, and they're a little bit more dull, but it still looks pretty good. From what I can tell.
And they've Peter Samedi and company. They've worked really hard to kind of figure out what works and what doesn't. And the other thing is that newsprint today is some of the processes that they use is way different than what they used in the 80s, and so you can actually get much better color out of it than you used to.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense too, because I've heard a lot of issues before where that was the main one, where the colors were just bleeding through, and it just doesn't really work. But
yeah, but you guys want to know in the 1980s how much Marvel was paying per unit to print it? 2 cents.
Whoa.
Now, obviously, they had huge orders and everything else, but yeah, like it was literally that cheap per copy.
And that's on regular paper?
No, that was on newsprint.
That was on the newsprint. Oh wow.
Yeah, but that's how cheap it was.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
Now, obviously, it could cost more than that nowadays, but I mean, it is definitely a much cheaper way of doing it.
Yeah, and you could do stuff like, wasn't there rumors that there was a Kiss comic where they actually put the band's blood in the ink or something?
That's an interesting one. I like that.
There was Sovereign Supreme. I'm trying to remember the Mark Grunwald, I think, was he the writer of that. They did a edition of it where they I think it was newsprint. Once he died, this was his request, by the way. They mixed his ashes with the ink and did a print run out that way.
Oh, that's cool.
That's wild. Jeez, man. It's not long before someone turns himself into a comic or something.
Literally, it's part of a comic book.
Yeah, bury me, grow me into a tree, turn me into a paper, then make me a comic book.
Oh, that's a lot. I was thinking like a Necronomicon of comic books.
Oh, okay, yeah, there you go. Sounds like something Alan Moore might do. Oh man, that's funny. But yeah, I have my own comic coming out as well. Of course, you guys read Barrels. Issue 2's coming along.
Sweet.
Yeah, me and Jeff have been working. We actually just got a shout out on a podcast, the Comic Central podcast. It was pretty cool. It was kind of cool to hear someone review the book.
And that was
yeah, I really look forward to number 2. For story reasons, sure, yes, I want to read the story, but also,
but the art,
he is growing.
The art is really a standout for sure. Oh yeah,
so much better.
Right? Yeah, you can even see his growth as a comic artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. One thing that's really cool. The first issue, if you could believe it, he was actually drawing to scale. So I don't know if your artists just draw bigger or not, or if they draw to scale, but he was just drawing it the same size as the comic page. So he was having to get really finite details with really small stuff, which I think he
Uh-huh.
really pulled off really well. But
Mhm.
in the second issue, we worked out to get him a scanner so that he could do 11 by 17 art. So now in the second issue, the art's much larger, and then
Yeah.
we're scaling that down so that when I don't know if you've heard of this, Scott, but when you do that, it basically turns all the details to become more finite, and it becomes smaller, and so everything looks super detailed because you've drawn it on this larger scale and then shrunk it down, basically.
Yeah, I had Matt speak with my artist about sizing
Oh,
before she
nice,
got started.
excellent,
That
yeah.
way, yeah, we
Yeah,
had
me
nailed
and
that
Matt.
down.
Yeah, me and Matt started to do. We're starting to do. Matt started to do that with all his art, I believe, too, as well, going forward.
The other thing is, my artist is all digital too, so
Oh, interesting. I'm sure that makes it easier too.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the
and
thing. Jeff. That's the thing with Jeff. All his art is done completely by hand. It's all traditional. He has pens and inks and paint washes and all these crazy tools. I'm like, what the heck? He's like a really. I love that about him. That he's so traditional because I think it really fits for barrels.
yeah, and
Yeah, he does.
Matt's the same way too, mostly.
Mm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Um,
he usually does things by hand and then layers digital on top.
yeah,
Yeah.
the one exception so far I think is my little rage puppy here. He did this one. He said all digital.
Oh, okay, interesting. That's cool. Yeah, I love that
It does
little.
look digital.
Yeah. In fact,
Yeah.
he said he had some videos of the process he used on it, and I'm interested to see those.
I wonder if he'd be willing to share those on YouTube.
Yeah, we can talk to him, see if he can post those up. I'll definitely
Yeah.
link that up.
Okay. Cool.
Very cool. Yeah, Jeff. He put some stuff recently on. Did some eBay auctions, and some of this stuff sold, but some of it didn't. And so I just sent him a DM and said how much for the rest of it, and bought it all because he does really good work.
Which stuff was he selling?
Just some smaller drawings that he
Oh,
did.
okay, nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know. Me and him talked a little bit. He's actually gonna. I don't know if he started yet, but he's gonna be planning to sell the original art for barrels.
cool.
Oh,
So
very cool.
if anyone wants to hit him up for that, definitely do that because he's a great artist and he definitely deserves the more attention. I
Yeah, he
think.
has an art book out now too, doesn't he?
Yeah, through Lone Wolf Indiegogo.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, I actually picked that up. That when I saw that art book, I had been planning to back the book at some point. But when I saw that, I was like, oh crap! I'm getting. There I go. I'm doing it right now because I wanted that art book, man.
yeah. No, I threw down again for the art book.
Oh really? Oh nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. His art is really nice. I don't know how many issues I'll have him for. We'll probably end up just doing a 4 issue miniseries for barrels.
yeah,
So that's it's in, I had to when I initially created barrels, it was gonna be like I was thinking, oh, this is gonna be like a 20 issue epic saga, and then when we got to the realistics of everything, it was like, okay, I can't really do that, but I'm gonna have to still want to do the same story. So how do I condense a 20 chapter story into a 4 chapter story?
mm,
And so that took some work, and that was kind of interesting. But I still feel like I'm hitting all the same major story beats in the same 4 issues that I would have in 20. So which probably just with a lot less fluff and more focus. So it could end up
yeah.
being a good thing in the end.
No, it could.
Yeah.
He's planning on doing some kind of a barbarian space epic or isn't something like that, right?
I think you're right. Yeah, because I know he's going to use a lot of his original characters that he's used in his past art pieces to do it. And yeah, there's like a warrior lady with I think a wolf on her shoulder.
Hmm.
That looks wild.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. I don't know, and probably we shouldn't talk about it on open comms, but
Uh,
I assume Wicked may have something to do with that at some
Actually,
point.
you know what? It's a little too early to say. I'd say at this point, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk to him about it, but yeah, I would say it's a little too early.
Hmm.
I'm not even sure. Yeah, probably once he starts some more production stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something to look forward to for sure. But yeah, I mean, Other than the crowdfunding campaigns that you guys were mentioning, how have things been going with your projects?
I've got several different artists sort of beavering away on different projects, and they're going fairly well. I'm almost the first issue of Tarot, which is short for Pterodactyl Man, is almost done, and I've got a great artist out of Brazil named Daniel Caval who's doing that, and and then there's a comic called Murder that I've got an artist out of Virginia working on, and that's coming along. So,
Jeez, how do you handle so many projects at once?
it's called Insanity, I think.
Try it sometime.
So Tarot, is that kind of like a spoof on Condor Man?
Yeah, I mean, Condor. There's definitely a Condor Man influence because that that was my introduction to superheroes and comic books. I mean,
I love
that was
movie.
absolutely the thing that did it for me. I was it used to be from VCR, like when you had video stores, right?
Yeah.
It used to be that people, because VCRs were actually quite expensive for a while, that they would actually rent you VCRs. So you go in and you could rent some tapes and you would rent the VCR and take it home and watch them, right? And we were in that category of where we would rent the VCR. And I saw this movie Condor Man and I said, well, can we get that? And my parents said, sure. And they grew to hate this movie because every time we would go to rent a VCR, I'd say, I want Condor Man.
Seriously?
So I watched that movie dozens
God.
and dozens and dozens of times now.
Oh
Yeah.
wow!
I watched that a lot as a kid too.
Really?
Yeah, I actually saw him post. That's why I asked, because it was something about if you could take over an IP, and he posted Condor Man. I'm like, oh, someone else who actually knows what that is.
Yeah.
It has it's kind of like a James Bond comic thing for kids. It had some great villains, some great gadgets, cars, boats, lasers.
Yeah. It was great.
Like how terrifying was that, like KGB assassin guy with like the steely marble eye?
Oh, wonderful. I flinched the first couple times I saw that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean there's that. I'm combining that with you can see some Condor Man influence, you can see some Spider-Man influence. There's a little of this and a little of that goes into it.
Okay, wow. And then you mentioned Murder?
Murder, yeah. It's when a bunch of crows get together, it's called a murder, right?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so you have a guy that I originally thought of as a superhero, and then I realized, I mean, maybe he's a champion of the crows. So they think of him as a superhero. Humans, maybe not so much. And so in the first issue, it begins with a bunch of crows getting murdered by these guys that ambush them, and then one of them escapes and contacts this rider on a motorcycle, and a revenge plot ensues.
That's interesting. Huh. So what gave you the idea to do an anthropomorphized character?
I don't really know where it came from. I mean, I think I actually literally dreamed this guy.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I mean, he's he's a rider on a bike that it's this idea that he's a human. He's human technically, but he's actually more bird than man at some point. And the hang up I had in the story was I kept trying to make him a hero, and then I realized that's not what kind of story this is. At least the first issue, it's a horror story. Then things got a lot easier after that.
Once you figured out that you wanted to take it in that direction.
Yeah, or that it wanted to go in that direction.
This is one of the cases where Sorry, go ahead, Scott.
So it sounds like he's like a man bird, kind of like a tengu.
He's a man, but what it is there was a deal. He was dying, and there was a deal that a bunch of crows struck with him. He has this jacket on him that is imbued with the great crow spirit, and it makes him a functionally immortal, or not, or he lives a long time, but it makes him invincible. But any damage that's done to him then is visited upon the crows. Like if you shoot him, a crow drops dead somewhere.
Okay, so as long as his murder is still in effect, he's essentially alive.
Yeah, I mean, but it's all crows all over the world, right? So
Okay, so
you know, it's you'd have to do a lot of killing him before you killed all the crows. And yeah, he's this he's sort of a champion of the crows, and sometimes that makes him this sort of avenging spirit.
Is there going to be any like link to Odin? Because I think he's kind of linked to crows as well.
Yeah, there'll be some, in the first issue is a very simple story. And I think the second issue is too. At some point, I may deal with sort of multiple, like there's a lot of different mythologies around crows.
True.
Various Indian tribes had various things that they thought about crows. You're right that the Norse have things about with crows. Yeah, I mean I could explore a lot of that, but it'll just depend on what kind of traction I get with this, first issue or two.
Yeah, sounds interesting though. I like the whole crow aspect.
And it sounds like I could see maybe would you say he's the because the way I could see it would be almost as if like characters were to stumble upon this character, and then it's almost like the issue is like what happens what is the interaction between us, the real humans, versus this undying thing.
Yeah,
am I kind of on the right track there?
Yeah, you see that there's a bar scene in the first issue, and I really don't want to give this away, but there's something that he interacts with a character in this bar, and then something the very last panel of the comic you find out something new about him that you didn't know before.
Interesting. Okay. So kind of can you say it's a twist, perhaps?
It's a twist. Okay. So, but I mean, I hope what it does is cements in people's heads this idea that he is more crow than man at this point.
I see. Okay, even though he looks human.
Yeah, but I mean, just mentally, like he's more. He lives in the world of the crows. That's where he's. He does their bidding basically.
Sounds pretty awesome. I like that.
I wonder if you would get confused by candy corn.
That's his kryptonite.
What is that crow's thing with candy corn?
Well, I mean, like they would eat corn, but it's candy.
Oh,
so,
I get what you're
like
saying.
The sight might kind of
what is confuse a little bit. Yeah.
Hey, no, it's funny. You guys probably know this, but I believe aren't crows the ones? I mean, they're very smart, and from what I understand, they're like one of the only other animals with non-mammal species that can recognize their own reflection in a mirror.
They can do that. They have memories that we honestly don't. We have not quite plumbed those depths. Researchers on crows say, yeah, we can tell that they can, recall this thing 2 weeks or a month later, but here's the thing, it's just because we didn't keep doing the study. Like it's possible it would be years later you'd get the same result.
Sure.
So crows, there's the two most domesticated species on the planet are dogs and crows, right? We domesticated dogs. Crows self-domesticated. But so what they did
really?
I mean they did it on their own terms. They live around humans, and that vastly increases their lifespans. Basically a lot of the sort of Darwinian pressures that exist on crows in the wilderness do not exist on crows in the city. Like they just don't. And I mean they don't. The competition just isn't very intense for them. They pay very, very close attention to humans. That's the thing that both dogs and crows have in common. But dogs have decided to trust us, and crows are much, much more wary.
That's actually really kind of interesting. Because there's actually this part in the Walking Dead TV show and the comic books actually, where crows start to overpopulate and start taking over. Like they just start becoming like really pervasive and start becoming a really big problem because they're eating all the crops and stuff. And
Yeah.
I saw that it kind of makes sense because, like you're saying, they're so intelligent and they're watching humans. They're like studying.
I think
Yeah.
they even have cases of like pet crows that actually like bring things back to their human,
Yeah.
like shiny baubles and stuff.
No, there were crows that acted like that with my wife when she was a kid, for instance.
Wow, that's interesting. Sounds like you're part of the inspiration for this book was just because of your fascination with crows in general. It sounds like.
Yeah. Oh, they're fascinating birds.
Yeah, that's awesome. They really are, huh?
Mm-hmm.
But what else? What other projects you got? So we got, what is that? 3 projects so far that we've.
I'd stop counting. Possibly my epic Beer Man.
What is it?
Beer Man.
Beer Man. Oh, I thought you said Pear Man for a second.
No, I want to hear more about Beer Man.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
So
actually, one question real quick.
Yeah.
I know you have that short story like Huckleberry Black.
Yeah, that's coming out.
Okay, that almost sounds like a tasty beverage for Beer Man.
So I'll have to think about that. Yeah, I mean, so there was an Indiegogo that has now closed called Knight Errant. And I did a 4-page story for that, where I created this character named Huckleberry Black, and at some point I would like to do more with him, but it was just a challenge. There was one of the tiers of this Indiegogo said, "I'll draw your story," and I said, "What?" So I got a hold of the creator, Joshua Slonaker, and I said, tell me about this. What exactly are you proposing here? And he said, well, you give me a script, I'll draw it, and I'll include it in my comic book as a 4-page backup story. And I said, well, you're doing kind of a Knights and Maidens comic. Does it have to be that? And he said, well, I mean, look, I'm not saying it can be anything, but I'm pretty open here. And so I said, well, if I can think of something, I'll let you know. And that night I was just seized with this, challenge. I must come up with something. And so what I did is I came up with a character whose name is Huckleberry Black. And he's he's in my mind, but not in this story, obviously. He's actually a descendant of Huckleberry Finn. I did a 4-page story that introduced him and told a story about a ghost that he's trying to dispel, basically.
And so you said you wanted to continue the story?
At some point, yeah. I mean, The Adventures of Huckleberry Black is a pretty good title for a comic book.
Cool. Well, I'd love to. I was gonna say I'd love to see that continue in some form.
Yeah, and I'll see if I'm getting a bunch of copies of this. I'm getting like 100 copies, so I can give some to friends and sell them at convention. Nice. I'll send you guys.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Yeah, congratulations on being part of that. I mean, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, I just thought the name also kind of sounds like a cool brew name.
Dude.
Beer Man.
One of the comic groups that I'm a part of, I said, look, I was pretty fixed on Huckleberry, but I said, here are all the different last names we could use here. Which one do you prefer? And that was the one that won, so I went with it. But to Beer Man,
right?
Yeah. Beer Man, the idea is, so what if you had kind of a low key Superman, meaning something more like the original Superman? Strong, fast. Bullets might bounce off him, but he's not completely invulnerable. And in this, I decided in this case he can fly, though the original Superman just sort of jumped.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What if you had that? What if that person existed, right? Like, how would he operate? What would he do so that he could be the super character in our world? And I finally decided what he'd do is he'd make a joke out of it, and then get people in on the joke. And so he's basically Superman pretending to be Duff Man.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Is that his how he gets his ability? Like the more he drinks, the stronger he becomes, almost.
He tells the not in the first issue, but at some point it'll become this running joke where he tells a different origin story every time.
Nice. That's awesome.
It's almost kind of like an in between like Hancock and Superman.
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
there you go.
Yeah, it's like you get this nice little comedic sweet spot there.
Yeah.
I wonder what his kryptonite would be. You know,
Wine,
non-alcoholic beer. Hello,
There you go.
soberness.
sobriety.
Yeah.
Noctio duels.
Oh no, AA villain, stop.
He's the guy who says that it's not an addiction; it's a lifestyle. You know?
That's right. You guys, I think you've probably heard this one before. What's the difference between drunks and alcoholics?
What's that?
Alcoholics go to meetings.
That's it. Hard stop. Oh man. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So the comic then is centered on this guy, and is he good at being a hero?
He can pull some things off. Yeah.
When he's not too drunk.
So at the beginning of it, there's a sort of Lois Lane type character, right? Who she's doing a lifestyle, like a picture of a sunset, for a local Seattle news show. She's basically B-reel footage type stuff. And she's like on the ledge of this building, and there's an earthquake, and it crumbles, right? And so she starts falling to her death. And so, he flies up and catches her and sets her down. And then, so he's just flown in public. How do you explain that one, right? And he says, "Well, I was shooting a commercial over there, and I'm on a line. So you're welcome for saving your life." And she wants to see the lion, and so they actually end up getting into it, and he just flies off and says, "You're rude, lady."
He just gives up. He's like, "I'm out of here."
Yeah. Peace.
Nice, man. Well, dang. Geez, I like how you keep yourself so busy.
Yeah. No, I have a crazy brain that just keeps coming up with stuff, so I figure I might as well give it an outlet.
It's cool that you can stick through with it, because I'll come up with ideas, but I can't follow through with them.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to overwhelm myself. Like I keep coming up with ideas, and I'll write them down, and then I just leave them for right now. I just want to get one out there, see how it goes, and then build off.
Yeah,
of
no,
that.
I feel you on that. I actually have a comic I'm supposed to be starting this month. Hopefully, I'll still be doing that. It's I actually already have my 2 artists lined up, so it'd be kind of I don't want to maybe push it back and have the chance of losing them. That'd be kind of a bummer. I'm gonna be working with, I guess I can say, tentatively, I guess at least. There's this guy Dan from Spain that I'll be working with as on my line artist. And then I think my colorist, let me see, I think some of you may be familiar with her work. Ellie Wright, she does some stuff with, I think it's Dynamite. She has some really cool stuff with Sherlock Holmes that I really like.
Cool.
And I was lucky enough to get in contact with her and work with her. So
wait, didn't she do Batman Shadow or the Shadow crossover thing?
Yeah, I believe she did as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've seen some of her stuff.
Yeah, she's very talented. And it's, I talked about it before. It's going to be it's like The Walking Dead meets Escape from New York.
Okay.
So it's you guys seen that movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so imagine there's these prison cities all throughout the world, and I won't go into too much, but I'm really excited about it. I've been kind of developing it for a little bit.
Good.
So, but yeah, I totally get what you mean about trying not to overload yourself, because I'm like, shit, I'm already doing barrels, and I'm still trying to finish my novel up and do all this other stuff with Wikid and
yeah.
But that's why I'm so impressed by that you can keep it all together and manage it all.
One thing that was helpful to me is I originally thought, okay, I've got to write a full script, and only then can I send it to an artist and get it going. And then I thought about it, and I thought, well, yeah, okay, I understand why Marvel and DC and big companies have that practice in place, but it's just me. So what if I send them, 2, 3, 5, 6, 9 pages of script right now, and then more to come, right? And that was actually a revelation that I could do that. And I started doing that, and it's worked.
So you split it up essentially? Is that the idea?
I send them a couple of. I say, here's a couple pages. Start drawing them. Then I say, then they get those pages in, or they're close to end, and I say, okay, here's a few more pages.
It's that strategy. I can write faster than you can draw.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, that's the thing, right? Some people are pretty fast at drawing.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting point. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. And then do you also have you ever done like say, okay, well, you can do this many pages this week, or anything like that? You try and slow it down at all, or do you not do that?
I never try to slow artists down.
Okay.
Yeah,
not a good idea.
I just kind of think as long as they're turning in quality stuff, you might as well just get it. Okay. I will say that Daniel Caval got ahead of me on tarot, and so at one point I actually just assigned. I said, "Okay, I'll pay your same page rate. Could you do some this fan art piece that I want to do to help promote Charger?" And so he did that.
That was that great Charger on stage, rocking in front of the crowd.
Yeah,
that was
I really liked
that was one of my favorite ones from Charger, honestly, because I love that punk rock aspect of it.
Yeah,
totally reminds me of like a Hellblazer type thing, Yeah, which I dig.
No, he did a really good job on it, and so, but yeah, partly that was just born of, oh crap, I got to give him something. Well, I wanted this thing to happen anyway, so let's do that.
Nice. Nice, man. Wow. Is there any other projects you're working on at the moment, or does that cap it off?
I think that's all that I have people committed to doing. Probably
all you can share at this time.
Well, much. I mean, I think that's all that I actually have artists assigned to.
Oh, okay.
I think that's accurate.
But you have other things probably spinning around in your head.
Oh yeah. Like one story is like I've always thought that the Batman origin story, look, it went the way it did in Batman for a reason, but it could have gone a completely different way, and so I want to tell that story at some point.
Like an origin story, or specifically a Batman origin story?
Well, okay. So you have a rich guy, parents get killed, right, in front of him, and then he decides to fight crime, and he hates guns, right? That means essentially.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I actually never caught the hating guns part now until you just said it like that. It's just pretty interesting.
And I want to do a different take on that, and I want to do a comic called Bullet Spray. Where he goes in more of a Tony Stark direction, let's just say.
Okay. Interesting.
Or like another way to look at it is the Thomas Wayne Batman from Flashpoint.
Okay.
Have you seen Flashpoint?
I don't know that one. Can you elaborate?
It's pretty cool, actually. I've seen the movie version of it.
Yeah. So basically, Barry Allen goes back to save his mom, and it totally changes the future.
Yeah.
To where Bruce Wayne dies and his father takes on the mantle of a bat, but he's actually this crazy drunk gun-toting Batman.
Yeah. Okay, that is not what happens in this.
Okay.
But I'm gonna have to go find that now because it sounds awesome.
It is awesome. He has this Doc Brown moment where like Barry Allen's trying to tell him how he gets his powers, and he ends up setting Barry Allen on fire, and he just kind of goes.
Yeah, that was a fun one for sure. It's always interesting to see alternate takes on that world.
Yeah. Well, like, DC does as I've always loved how DC is really willing to commit to this Elseworlds thing. They really like exploring alternate ways of doing this.
Are you looking forward to Deceased?
Which one is that?
It's an upcoming zombie DC universe comic.
Yes, I am. Now that I know about it.
It's funny. It's spelled DCEASED.
Okay,
Deceased.
I get it.
Right. It's kind of a fun little name. And the variant, you have a variant cover, and it's a play on the movie It.
Okay.
And it's got the cover, with the initial one has the clown in the back, and it's got the little kid with the raincoat, and the clown has the red balloon.
Yeah.
So this time it has Joker with the red balloon, and it has
awesome.
Robin as in a yellow cape to emblem the raincoat. And it says there's the original line says "You will float to," and this one says "You will die to." And so it's a total play on the horror movie, genre and just horror in general. So I totally love that.
That's great.
Idea. Right.
I was just checking if Flashpoint was still on Netflix. Doesn't look like it.
That's too bad. Yeah, I know it'll be on Amazon for sure. They have all of those ones.
Okay. We do have a Prime. Well, we have a Prime.
Nice.
But or I don't know. At some point, I think I'm just going to get the complete DC animated.
Really? All the new stuff.
They've done like there's 12, this big package that it's a huge package of like 20 or something.
Nice. Dude.
So if I can get a good deal on that at some point, I'll just buy it.
Yeah, that's smart. I've seen a handful of those, and they're always really good.
Mm-hmm.
The Dark Knight Returns animated movie is really good too.
It was wonderful.
I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I didn't like, and it's a minor thing, but it's the one of the things they didn't do a lot of in Dark Knight Returns is that stupid thing in cartoons where somehow people are shooting machine guns at you and none of them could hit anything and you dodge it all. They did a little too much of that, but that's really my only nit that I would pick with that thing. It was very well done.
Yeah, and for me, I don't know. I like Frank Miller's work, but sometimes like his panel-to-panel stuff is like hard to follow the action. Mm-hmm. So it was a little bit easier to like follow what was happening in some of those fast-paced action sequences.
You guys remember there was a Batman animated? It was like a series of vignettes, and they all had different art styles. Do you guys remember that one by any chance?
I don't think it was Gotham.
I think it was. I believe it was, if I'm remembering correctly, maybe called Gotham Knight.
Okay.
I don't know
if that's right. I can't remember the name quite, but yeah, it was pretty cool. It had like an anime style one, I think. Cool. But they were all like different and pretty cool.
Oh, I haven't picked this one up, but there's actually like a whole Japanese style Batman.
Yes.
No, before, what was it, Batman Samurai, there was an actual like manga, and like it was really interesting because it was like feudal Japan, so instead of like the bat signal, they had like a bat drum that they would play to summon him and stuff like that.
Oh, that's great.
That's interesting, yeah.
But actually, that reminds me, I need to see Batman Samurai. I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh yeah, here I'll post it in the chat if you want to look it up. But yeah, it's Batman Gotham Knight. One of them was actually done by Production IG. They actually some really good animation studios. There's 1, 2, 3, 6 different shorts, and they're all collected as a one movie. But yeah, it was pretty good. But but so we're getting closer to the end of the time here. Why don't you tell us what you got coming up with the Indiegogo, where when it's going to launch, and where we can follow you as well.
All right, you can follow me at Jeremy Lott Diary. That's JeremyLottDiary on Twitter. And the project I have coming out is Movie Men. It will come to Indiegogo on April 1st, and it is not a joke.
That is for real, 100%.
Not an April Fool's joke.
That's right. It's happening. And it's gonna. Are you gonna? Well, we'll get into the nitty-gritty details, I guess, later when it comes up. But make sure to follow him on there, guys, and look out for his Indiegogo, and for all of his other projects coming, I'm sure, in the near future.
Yep.
And
then Scott, where can people follow you as well? And what do you got coming up?
So Wrath, graphic novel coming out with Wikid Publishing. We're releasing it as 6 individual chapters. First Kickstarter for chapter 1 Look for it. We're looking end of April, early May. Like I said, we're going to have some pages to show here soon. You can follow me at Kishkuman on Twitter. And, hopefully we get some more followers and some more feedback. And we're going to go forward and get this thing going.
Excellent. Well, why don't you guys just stick around for a few more minutes as we get the guys coming in here. I'm
Sure,
gonna
sure.
start getting them in, but
We didn't really go over too much of game day yesterday.
yeah, why don't we talk a little bit about game day? Actually, that's a great point. I I was sad you couldn't make it, Jeremy.
Yeah, we
So
actually
was
thought
I, but-
about you last night. I was like, "Where's Jeremy? This is like totally his thing."
Yeah, I it just wasn't possible from the hotel room here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
no, I totally get that. You're on vacation, so I totally understand that. No worries.
Next time I'll find a way.
But
Did
yeah,
you
no, it
see
was.
the,
Yeah,
did you see the
get
T-shirt we posted there in the Wikid chat?
Did you get a chance to see the picture that we posted?
Did you post a picture of me?
No,
Oh, no, not of you.
We did
It's,
this game where you drew T-shirts, and then before seeing the T-shirts, you would just type random captions.
Okay.
So you would get two like hand-drawn T-shirt images and then a list of captions to like pair them up. So one of them is in the Wikid chat if you wanted to check that out.
Should I? Here, I'll post it. Here, I'll just. Why don't I just screen share it real quick?
You want to screen share that?
Yeah, let me just screen share this shit real quick.
Well, no, there you go.
So there, just Jack Irons approved. That was wild, man. And the fun part, the best part about that is that all the shirts that we created there's a link that I posted online on Twitter as well, where you can actually go and buy them, and they'll ship them to you. So I believe the one that won had a picture of like a really crappy drawn duck, and it said "fuck you, I'm the captain now," or no, it said "fuck you." What was it? What?
You wrote "fuck you," and then the caption underneath was like, "Look at me, I'm the captain now."
Yeah, look at me, I'm the captain now. From the pirate movie. Yeah, it was so fucking funny, dude. Just with the caption, this dumbass looking duck, and it was just hilarious, man. I swear. But yeah, it was a good time. I think we all, that was probably the highlight of the game day for sure. Was the Jackbox games, But yeah, I guess Brett and the guys are gonna be coming in here now. So thanks for joining, guys, and we'll see you guys on the next podcast, and maybe it's on some other streams in the meantime.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds
good to be here.
Thank you.
Later, guys. Have a good one.
Later.
Hey, Brett. How's it going?
I got a message Matt, don't I?
Yeah. Hey, he's your Mythoverse guy, right?
Of course I do. I'll hit him up. I'm up over. I'll hit him up. Give me a sec.
Do you have on another way to get a hold of him?
Yeah, I do.
Nice. Excellent.
Hey, guys.
Oh, there
he is.
Looks like I don't have to.
Yeah, I was stuck watching the Google Hangouts quotation mark for the last 3-4 minutes.
The Google quotations. What'd you say?
You know how you see that Google quotation mark inside a speech bubble before you're able to get in?
No, I can't remember it, honestly.
Okay, well, I was watching that for the last few minutes, and I was going to go check out my internet connection before I got in.
Oops. Well, I'm glad you made it in regardless.
Can I start this segment up by saying, who was the jackass that thought daylight savings time was a good idea?
Yeah, for real. That is a good point. Hey, Ebi, how's it going? Do you have to deal with daylight savings time on your end?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
I guess it's everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard rumors actually that Spain is going to stop doing that.
Seriously?
Maybe next year, something like that. Yeah.
You're kidding me.
No,
Those lucky bastards.
I hope not. So far, it's just rumors, but I wish it's true because I can totally do without having to wake up at 6 a.m. when it's still
Right? It's wrong. That's actually part of the reason when I woke up this morning, I was like, let's push the podcast back an hour. Let's make up for that. It's giving everyone an extra hour since they're trying to take one away from us,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanna know what the state that has it the worst with daylight savings time is?
Huh.
It's Arizona.
Really?
Sometimes Arizona's on mountain time, sometimes it's on Pacific time. It's fucking weird.
I thought it would be Alaska for some reason with the whole,
It's not. It's
6 months of days and night and all that.
Oh no. That's just because of where Alaska is on geographically speaking. Arizona's just in this weird spot when it comes to daylight savings time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan myself, but it's weird because it happens every year, but we never get used to it,
I think about the only time people are happy is when when we're rolling the clocks back.
That's true, that's true. But I'm happy that you guys were able to make it today. I appreciate you coming on, and I know we have a lot of big, exciting news for all of you right now. You're all busy. So why don't you guys tell us a little bit about what you guys got going on this month?
Who wants to go first?
Well, that's a good question. We haven't heard much from Ebai on Twitter lately. When don't we hear from you?
Yeah.
Anymore anyway.
I miss you, man. Why don't you? Are you done coming?
No.
Are you done with Twitter?
I'm angry with Twitter right now because they keep banning me as soon as I create a new account. So I don't know. Fuck them. You know what I mean?
For real, dude. It is kind of annoying.
Worst thing is, I guess Ebai's going out like Tonka saw then, Matt.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now I'll end up challenging Jack to a cage fight at some point in my life. I'm
Uh,
That
you
actually,
me, motherfucker.
that would actually probably go down a lot more fun than that fight that was supposed to go down between Tonka and Andy Worski.
hmm.
And I'm
Yeah,
in pretty good shape. I'm not some dweeb nerd. I actually work out and can take a beating.
Hey, Tonka Saw is a professional wrestler.
Really?
Yeah, I'd pay to see Ebai fight.
I
That's
got-
pay-per-view.
Hey, I could pull up video evidence of him wrestling. I'll post it in the group chat.
And walking too.
If you ever want to shoot an insider look at your fighting that you do over there, would love to post it up on the YouTube, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna say that Canales versus Jack would be a one-sided fight.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but Mr. Ebai here, he does martial arts and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that right?
Why we say it's a one-sided fight?
Well, Jack probably does typo.
And well, he's also mortal. So there's that, I guess, too, huh?
No, the thing is, I was raised on a diet of raw meat and what's the word for it? I'm trying to like beans, but not beans. What order of food do beans belong to? There's a word.
Lentils, is it?
I think it's
like lentils and stuff like that. I was raised on country food.
And
so to speak.
legumes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
that gives you like this kind of animalistic rage that the modern generation starts slowly losing with all the processed food and all that.
So you stock up on it to make sure you got plenty.
Yeah. I keep regularly going to to these working class restaurants where they will always serve you homemade food, like lots of meat and meat, potatoes and vegetables and stuff like that. The kind of food that you need to to work in the field and construction site and all that.
So Ebai, we talked a little bit about what you got going on. I know you have Abductables and Tombstone Blues, and I'm sure a number of other projects going on. How have you been managing to keep it all straight?
Well, I don't sleep anymore, So there's
Yeah,
one thing. But
I guess that's something to look forward to, huh?
yeah, that's the secret. That's the secret. Being able to go without sleeping for like 3 days straight, something like that. But yeah, no, we have the Abductables up on Indiegogo right now, and we're up to. Last time I checked, we were 30%. Yeah, we're still at 30% of the 5K that we're asking.
Moving
our
along
players.
nicely.
Yeah, and not just 2 days, so yeah, it's not half bad. And what else? Yeah, where I have appointments with everyone on YouTube to talk about it. So that's what I'm doing. Since I don't have a Twitter account anymore, I'm using YouTube to pimp my comics.
Pretty much, yeah. Hey, that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah, no, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah,
Have you guys started any production on Ironsides 2 yet?
I actually have, but Zach insisted on me not talking about it on social media until
Okay.
he's ready. So
Hush,
yeah, I'm
hush.
not gonna say much. Yeah, but yes, I've begun production on
Good,
Ironsides.
good. We're all looking forward to that. I know. That was a big one.
Yeah, that's probably a sure bet. I don't know what will happen with all the other Indiegogo campaigns that I'm involved in, but I'm pretty sure this one's going to be a success just because it's Zach. It's a sure bet.
Yeah, I mean, especially not only that, but you guys had such fast turnaround with that one. Much faster than we even when we. Go ahead.
No, I like to think that I'm the fast one in Comicsgate. I'm not I'm the one who's always there by the deadline.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's usually a great thing for for as a career writer perspective. That's always appreciated.
Yeah, I guess I'm the kind of guy who you give the first 2 issues of the series to Jim Lee or whatever, and Jim Lee doesn't meet the deadline, so they said just give it to Canales. Draw whatever, and he'll get it done by the time we need.
So Brett and Dan, I know you guys have your crowdfunding coming up as well.
Wait, where's
pretty
Dan?
quick here? I mean, not Dan. Sorry,
Dan was here.
I wish he was here. But no, sorry, Brett and
Wow,
Matt.
thanks.
I had a mental break there.
I'll try not to take it personally.
Hey, you could. Well, yeah, that's hopefully not. Hey, nothing personal. I mean, you're.
Nothing personal, kid.
Right. Oh man, but yeah. Why don't you tell us about your campaign, because it's coming up pretty quick here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's yeah, we set the date for April 5th, as anyone who's been paying attention to our Twitters noticed. So yeah,
well, some people might not notice.
I guess. Yeah, that's our date. That's our date, April 5th, and gonna keep it up for a month. Our release, the window we've given to release the comics when they're finished, we're aiming for September.
So about what is that, about 4 months, 5 months?
Okay, so if we go up in April, goes up for a month, blah 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 blah. June, July, August. Yeah, 4 months.
Very excellent. Yeah, and it's interesting because you guys are all launching on the same day as part of a shared campaign.
Well, we figured that actually looks the best.
I think you're right. Yeah, I mean I think it's something we haven't seen, and I think people are going to be really excited to do that, to kind of be able to get all these stories and start diving into the Mythoverse.
Yeah, and honestly, I think what is going to help sell people on our campaign is just the amount of options we're giving people.
Right. There's
and the big problem I saw.
Sorry, go ahead.
The big problem I saw with going it alone with each campaign was that we'd eventually overlap each other and we'd have to compete with each other.
Well, that's an interesting question. There are a number of campaigns coming out. We talked a little bit in the last segment. Jeremy's coming out with his campaign on April 1st. And then I think even Scott was considering April as well. So I don't know. It could be a popular month, I suppose. But that doesn't necessarily mean that people won't support them all, though.
Yeah,
especially with tax break. I mean, the taxes are coming up. People are gonna get their tax breaks and stuff.
Yeah,
and
that's true. I mean, and for the record, I don't see Jeremy or Scott as competition. I mean, like,
that's true. They're part of the Wicked crew.
We want everyone under the Wicked flag to succeed, don't we?
That's very true. Yeah, no, that's a great way to look at it. Yeah, we're all in this together.
Yeah, the way I see it is the more indie comics creator make it and succeed, the more we stick it to the man.
Exactly. I mean, that's a great point too. It's not even just about Wicked creators; it's about all indie creators, really. I mean, that's what we on Wicked we always try to post. Sometimes to post for other people too, like other campaigns and things. Because I think it's all about growing that community, and supporting everyone who's trying to build it up.
Pretty much.
And I wish I could support all the campaigns, honestly, because that would be so good. But it is, you do have to pick the ones you want, and but as long as you put out a good product, I think people are going to see that. And with you guys have definitely done that. I mean, you guys have 3 different projects coming out, all with unique looks and all with really great characters and stories. So.
Honestly, I think that's something that even our harshest critics are never going to be able to take from us anyway. Even if they don't like the books, they can't say they don't look good.
Exactly, that's very true. Yeah, you guys were you guys.
At least they look better than the airplane safety manual look.
Yeah, actually, I showed it to a buddy of mine that big into comics, and he talks about like how on his timeline on Twitter, it's just full of bad Marvel art, and he's just shocked that we were able to get such good artists.
That's wild, huh? Yeah. It's wild when the indies are looking better than the pros. That's a sign of the times. That's interesting.
In a way, I'm not surprised because that's how you got your way into the big publishers back in the day. You did your indie book, and then you were scouted.
That's true. Yeah. It just seems like I wonder if that's changed a little bit. Well, in the way that Marvel looks at it,
let me just put it this way: I wouldn't be surprised if they grab half the artists they have now off of Tumblr.
Yeah, that's more likely where it's coming from because it seems like someone's giving them the incorrect idea that the most talented are coming from Tumblr, the ones with the big fans.
They seem to think that Twitter likes or Tumblr likes equal sales, and that's the measure they use it to hire people.
No, Brian from the Rags team actually kind of learned this. Like he actually had a post where he said like, Twitter followers does not equal sales.
Nope.
And honestly, that's not. And honestly, I feel like that's something like a lot of creators forget. Like it does not matter. At the end of the day, it does not matter how many good reviews your book has. The only thing that should matter at the end of the day is how many units you moved.
Yeah, I always say, don't listen to your critics. Listen to the people who put food on your table, and it's the sales.
I mean, it's not to say critics' opinions don't matter, but just that they're not all that matter.
Yeah, I'm of the Michael Bay school of thought in that regard. That you should wipe your tears with the money that you've earned after reading a criticism. But yeah, I mean, if the criticism is that if there's something that your customers say, like if there's a constant in what they say, I say I don't think you draw enough backgrounds, or I don't think your proportions are all that good. If that's coming from the customers, yeah, you should totally listen to them. But critics, like 50-50. I'm like 50-50 inclined to listen to them.
Yeah. Like I said, doesn't the amount of good reviews you get matter significantly less so than how many books you've sold. Well, then it's like, getting good review because you did good work. Yeah, you earned that. Or getting a harsh review because your work isn't that good, you probably earned that too. But at the end of the day, how many books did you sell? That's what matters.
Yep.
And it's actually rather interesting how you look at the people who say that the money matters, but at the end of the day, it's all about the number of people you reached. Jawbreakers may have made less money than, say, Cyberfrog, but Jawbreakers reached more people.
Well, Jawbreakers actually got out.
Hey. We're trying not to throw shade here.
Cyberfrog will come out eventually.
Yeah, I don't think it's not going to come out. It's just probably late because it's Ethan's first attempt at making his own comic book. But the guy's making stuff, so
It's very detailed, from what I understand too.
yeah, I've seen some pages and it's crazy detail. So plus, didn't he pump up the page count? It's longer than expected.
88 now. Okay, I mean, like, I'd never take away from Ethan Van Sciver's self-evident talent. He had, like, the man is good, is damn good. He was probably one of the best. He was without a doubt one of the best artists in the pro scene. Like, that cannot, like I said, that can't be taken from him. I mean, I would never dream of doing that.
That's true. I mean, he has a just a whole his career is very prolific, and he's done so much.
Yeah.
But shoot, how did we start talking about that? I know we were talking about Mythoverse.
Well, like I said, I mean, like,
I think we were talking about the
microphone match.
issues. Yes. Okay.
Sounds like a futuristic. That was really crazy sci-fi, man.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, what I was gonna say though, it's like bringing it back to the art. It's just like my friend I showed that to. I kind of had to tag Matt and Dan on Twitter just so they could show off their stuff to him. He kind of came down liking Adobe Kroger the most just based on the art. But then again, this buddy of mine, he reads a lot of manga. So, and let me put it this way. Adobe Kroger kind of is a lot closer to manga than Changeling is. And that's mainly because it's in black and white. Which is funny because Changeling has a more explicit manga aesthetic.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, they all have kind of to me they all have this somewhat of a manga aesthetic in a way.
I don't know,
maybe not Mythics, I suppose.
Yeah,
No, Mythics is more indie comic-ish.
Yeah, that's true. It's more comic style, American comic style, really. And then yeah, but
I'd be legit shocked if Beth actually watched anime.
really?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure she does.
Oh.
It's just that she wants to develop her own art style.
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay.
That's totally fair. But yeah, no, I think everything is coming together now. So, you said one of the comics was black and white?
That's Adobe Kroger.
Oh, that's right. Because it's just the cover that's colored. Yeah, the cover came out nice, didn't it?
Yeah, and actually, Ebi, like, we probably did not show you this. I think I have that. I think I have that on my phone. I'm gonna post this in Discord because you missed out on this. Brett Smith got it colored
For the Adobe Kroger.
Yes. He got the Adobe Kroger cover.
Kroger cover. Oh God, that's like a freaking tongue twister. The Adobe Kroger cover colored.
Let's just be thankful I didn't slip up and say, "Hey, Chad Kroger" by mistake.
That'd be a whole different ball game.
Oh, I got a supermarket called Kroger, so it gets a little weird.
Yeah, I just posted in the Discord by Wicked House.
It was pretty funny. I was telling my dad about Adobe Kroger, and he's like, "Adobe what program? What is that?"
In case anyone's wondering, by the way, Adobe was actually born before the first edition of Photoshop, so that is not where her name comes from.
Oh, really? Interesting. Oh, okay. I wonder. Okay. Is it more like an Adobe? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, he said that her parents had weirder things in mind.
Adobe.
Well, in Spanish, Adobe is the thing that primitive peoples used to build their houses. I don't know what's the exact translation in English, like clay or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So I wonder if that has anything to do with it. Can you guys or is that Dan? Should we leave that for Dan to reveal?
I think it might be something we leave for Dan.
That's fair. Don't want to tread on it on his thing there. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, he knows that we don't have any ill feelings towards him.
oh
Yet.
shoot. No, yeah, right. Not yet.
I mean, there's a lot of we gotta keep an eye out for any kind of possibility that we might alienate another co-creator, because that happens a lot in entertainment.
True. Yeah. I mean, it's when you're dealing with partnerships and co-creators, you always gotta be respectful of their ideas, and especially when they're sharing stuff with you
Yeah,
that
we
they're
don't
not
want.
giving out to the public. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
we don't want another Stanley Jack Kirby argument.
Yeah, that would be bad. Now it looks like we're joined by Brett's clone. Welcome, Brett's clone.
Hey, it's
Go
Frank's
on.
clone.
Kick the other one out.
Huh? Kick the other one out, you said?
Kick the other one out, please. It's just like,
Sure, yeah. I think you can do that.
This is
Goodbye.
This is just
Goodbye,
Goodbye,
clone.
Brett.
Yeah. This is just because my computer froze, and I've dealt with this enough times to know what'll happen next.
Yep.
Yikes. How old's your computer?
It's not that old. It's just more like it just tech buddy of mine actually gave it she took a look, and he just said it's because my other drive has too many, occurrences or something. It just needs to be replaced.
The hard drive?
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Computer problems. But yeah. So that's cool. I mean, everything's coming along for Mythoverse. I mean, I know you guys got a lot of big things in the works, so this is kind of like a big first step for you guys.
Oh yeah.
Are you guys nervous? Have you guys? Because this is, am I right? This is your first campaign, right? Your first crowdfunding that you guys have worked on personally.
Yep. I think.
What are you looking forward? Yeah. What are you guys looking forward to?
Well, I'm looking forward to failure.
Hey, don't say that.
Well, it's because first time campaigns making money, that's pretty rare. Making the full line, unless everyone knows who you are.
Well, you guys have been doing a really good job of building your presence ahead of time, which I think is the key. So I think you guys have positioned yourself really nicely.
Yeah, and it's gonna be fun to see how we're gonna be able to reach these readers.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the coolest part. I always think is thinking about your work getting read by people out there. I think that's just so cool. It's got to be the most satisfying part for me. I mean, what do you guys think?
Oh yeah. I've actually sold a comic before at Motor City Comic Con, and it was the weirdest thing to have someone ask for your autograph.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is. You're very right. Because I have that. I've had that experience at cons, and it's like, oh, really? Okay, sure.
I remember this was probably back in 2014, I think, where I was still doing See You Next Tuesday webcomic for a friend, and I went to New York, and he introduced me to a fan. He told me, this girl is your fan. She loves your work. Like, I have fans now,
Well, and especially being in another country, like, wow, that must be cool too.
Exactly. I mean, maybe people from hanging out with them at bars and stuff, but going to another country and meeting someone and someone telling you, "Oh man, I love your work." Oh, really?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
I think it's important to remain grounded because you see all these professionals who will go out and attack people, and it's because nobody ever told them professionally that something might not be right with what they're doing.
Yeah, there's a lot of blame game going around these days. It seems like once someone they just get a little taste of that fame, and they switch up on you.
I think it's like they're like really insecure, like high school nerds that suddenly got a taste of power and fame, and it got to their heads really fast.
Exactly. Yeah.
I keep telling myself that my writing's not that great.
You just try to stay humble, huh?
Yeah, and it's also, hey, whenever someone says, "Hey, your writing sucks," I just go, "So."
You're like, what
Yeah, you see
anything new.
that's not really. You see, that's the kind of stuff that you should ignore, because when someone tells you something sucks, that's not a criticism. They're just trying to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
True.
Exactly.
There's nothing constructive about that.
Exactly. That's the kind of person you tell to fuck off. But,
I think keep going. Keep going, Canals. You sounded like you had something there.
Sorry?
Yeah, you sounded like you had something going there.
Oh yeah, no. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with SAG. People say that he's a racist and whatever, but I don't know. His criticism really seemed like really constructive to me. I mean, he tells you this is not how you write a hero. This is not how you push a character, etc.
He just strikes me as a guy who doesn't. He's probably the guy has the most milquetoast opinions out there, but somehow they've decided to make him into a monster.
I think I got lost. Who exactly are we talking about again?
Diversity in comics.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Zach. Yeah.
He's still off Twitter, isn't he?
I don't think he's ever coming back.
Yep.
Yeah, probably not. Well, but he's still on Splato Comics on Twitter, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but he's still got the YouTube thing he's doing, but yeah.
Okay. Well, he'll do his YouTube thing then.
Yeah.
But we gotta get you back on Twitter somehow, Ibai. Okay. How can we do this? Okay, let's.
I tend to turn the place into a battlefield. I don't know if you want that.
I mean, that's fair.
Well, it sounds like Michael's going through Evi with dolls.
I think so.
Yeah.
Not only that, but the only way I have to communicate with him now is through email most of the time. So a lot, and I'm not very good with emails, so sometimes I'll email him asking him something, and then I'll totally freaking forget to go check the answer, and then I'm like, oh crap. And so
if this is about last night, don't worry, because that was like 4 a.m. So
yeah, it was about last
we
night.
Still get Discord.
What's that?
We still got Discord.
Discord. How does Discord?
I forgot my password.
I'm not good with Discord either. I'm not very good with that either. Twitter's like the one that I always I'm always checking for sure.
I don't really know how Discord really works. I'm still improvising every time I go back.
Yeah, it's an interesting program. It can be useful. It's a little bit more stable than Skype for one thing.
Yeah, that's true.
From what I understand. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, just in regards to remaining grounded, I can't to bring up Tonkasa again. I think the only reason I'm doing this is just to see if I can fail.
You're doing
an interesting take.
So say that again. No, you're doing.
I am doing this just to see if I can fail.
You're doing what?
All of this, everything. I am doing this whole comic book thing just to see if I'll fail.
Well, a piece of advice that J. Michael Straczynski gave at MIT back in, I think, 2009 is not to look at it at success, but to plan as if it's going to be a failure. Because if you don't plan to be a failure, you won't be able to see where the obstacles are to get over that wall of failure.
I would say I agree with that, and then I will counter that with there's this quote I can't remember. I think it was on a TV show I heard, and I think it's probably important to have a little bit of both these maybe because he said it was I said something like always think about the future and basically your dreams and what you want for the future because that gives you the strength to make it there. And I thought that was a pretty cool quote. So I'd say yes, have a little bit of that pragmatism, but never forget your passion or your dream too.
Oh no,
you know,
not at all.
Definitely gotta have both, huh? But that's interesting. You know, that's an interesting point. But you know, you guys gotta be a little more optimistic. You know.
Oh, we are.
I'm plenty optimistic. Like
you guys are like your characters on from your books.
I am plenty optimistic. Thank you.
Well, Brad is so optimistic that there has to be some pessimism.
To bring him back down to level, right?
Yep.
But yeah. So you guys were able to join us for the game night last night. What'd you guys think of that?
That was fun,
right?
Yep.
That was really cool.
I'm bummed out that I could only hang for like an hour, but it's like
I know, right?
And honestly, also I think it might just be I don't know if it's because I have an S9 or something, but I couldn't. But the Windows did not work that well. I got maybe a frame or two at most from what was going on. Could barely see anything that was happening
from the video feed.
Not just the video feed. It was also in the Jackbox thing. I think it might have been better. I think it might have gone better if I used my PC. But no, had to do game night while I was working.
Yeah, sorry about that. Do you work on Fridays as well?
Right now my job did this thing where they took away. We had core hours where I got more consistent days off. They took that away, and now I gotta check my schedule to know what my days off now. And this week it's Monday and Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you cool? Because we were thinking of doing the next game day on the 29th, so you probably don't know that yet, huh?
They schedule 3 weeks in advance, so I'll have to check. Who knows?
Would you like to try and go to that next one? We could try and do it a little bit earlier, so it's not 4 a.m. for you.
Yeah. Well, I'll just check my schedule and we'll play by ear.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. Iba, have you played Jackbox games before?
I don't think so. It's like Candy Crush Saga or something like that.
What's that?
No,
Candy Crush.
No. Well, no, I don't think so.
I'm just playing, left, right, kill of video games.
Well, basically, the Jackbox is really fun. There are 5 packs. I have all 5 of them, and each one has like 4 to 5 mini games. Party games or like party games basically. And what you do is we stream it online, and then you get a website link that you put on your phone or your PC, and then you put in a code, and then you just play straight off of the website. So you play think of your phone or PC as the controller, and then the live stream is the screen that you're watching to see the game unfold. And so it's really fun. Oh, dude, it is hilarious, dude. You should see some of the shit we posted, man. We posted some of the shirts we created, and oh my god, the last game we played was this epic rap battle, and it was so crazy. It was this game where you would get a line, almost like a Mad Lib, and then you would come up with a word, and then you would get another line, and you would have to rhyme that second line with that first line you created, and then you would verse off with another person, and they would have they had these little robot animations coming off, and like they had these robot synthesizer voices, and they actually rapped out your lyrics. And it was like so freaking hilarious to hear them rapping these crazy freaking lyrics and stuff. And oh my god, it was hilarious, man. So it's just a ton of fun.
I might have to try that because I tried Apex Legends and I completely suck at it. I don't blame you, dude.
We did some streams throughout the day. Me, Matt, and a couple of the other guys did some streams earlier in the day for Apex Legends, and yeah, it was not pretty. Yeah.
Well, that last one was pretty good.
Yeah, we almost won one match. We actually was us three, but the thing is, it sucked because it was us three versus one guy, and he jumped him down from above like Batman, just killed us all in one go.
That's the problem I have. Plus my shitty connection. Everyone was moving like lightning fast, and I was like a triple turtle. Like, everyone, give me a gun. Who's shooting at me?
Oh my god! Oh wow, that's wild. Were you playing with just random people too?
Yeah, I just wanted to try it.
That's the other
See
thing.
How much it sagged at it.
Yeah, see, I tried with randoms, and then I played with people with on mics because we got mics and stuff. But with Matt and Scott, and it was so much easier when you could actually talk to each other and coordinate.
Yeah, no, I remember the team leader even apologized when we all died, because I gotta say I wasn't the only one to die. We all died, everyone in the team. And the guy was like, "I'm sorry, guys. Don't worry, fam. Don't worry."
That's funny. Oh man, but yeah, so it was a good first community game day, and I'll tease another little thing. I can't remember if you guys were there when I brought it up. I think you might have been, but I was thinking about doing a Wikid movie night because there's this app called Netflix Party, and it allows you to sync up your Netflixes together so that you can watch a movie at the same exact time, and there's even a built-in chat function.
No, that sounds like something I would like to do.
Right, and here's the kicker.
I had once.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, and it reminds me of the old Netflix that they had on Xbox, the original one they had with the party view. And so something that someone suggested last night was, I think it was Jeremy, maybe, was that we could do a Mystery Science Theater 3000 or a riff track style video, and called Wicked Awful Movies, and we do bad Netflix movies and just we make jokes over them and stuff. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does that sound something that you think would sound fun?
That could be awesome.
Or would you be more interested in a regular movie night?
I don't know. I riffing on bad movies sounds fun.
Or even a mixture of both, like have riff track style ones and then do just regular movie nights as well.
Yeah, we could do like one of our favorite movies one day, and then one of our least favorite movies.
Right, exactly, yeah. But yeah, I thought that'd be a lot of fun, kind of build on that
Anyone
idea.
want to melt their brains with Battlefield Earth?
Oh my god, is that on Netflix? I wonder. That's the one thing we gotta. We're tied to their thing.
Man, I need to find you guys some trashy Spanish movie with subtitles. You're gonna die.
Let's see. What'd you call it? What'd you say it was again? You wanted to know if it was on there? Battlefield Earth, right?
Yep, the one based on a really bad novel.
Oh yeah, it's on there. Oh yeah, we could definitely do Battlefield Earth. I suggested.
I was gonna say there's a couple Godzilla movies I could use. I could use a scorching.
The 90s movie.
The Baratheon Broderick one.
Yep.
No, that one's been scorched plenty. I'm talking.
Yeah, that's true.
Ones.
There are plenty of bad Japanese ones too. I thought Cloverfield Paradox would be kind of a funny one to poke fun at.
Well, Last Jedi, we could point out all the moments where I try to sell merchandise.
I'm sorry, I can't ever look at that. I'm too that movie makes me depressed now. I can't even look at that shit.
Yeah, I don't think I can go through it again.
Right? I mean, especially for me, I just after reading what Mark Hamill said about the movies, man, it just broke my heart, man. I was so sad.
Well,
that was awful. Did you guys hear what he said at all, or recently?
I think he said,
comments?
Yeah, I think he said something like Ryan or whatever completely ignored the input he gave about the character, right?
Yeah, he said he was screwed over and he ruined it because one thing he was told and promised him was that he would, one, not get a cameo, and 2, get a 3-picture deal. And he didn't get either of those things. He got a cameo, and he was sent in the first one, and he was the only one he really was in was the second one. Now, and not only that, but they didn't even give the 3 original characters a reunion, like a true reunion. So he was pretty. He thinks he ruined it, or they ruined it. All of them ruined it.
It's not like with what J.J. Abrams did with Star Trek, where he actually gave the older Spock a respectful.
Yeah, totally. That was a great part of that movie.
Story. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Right? Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. So, yeah, we could probably go on forever about Star Wars. So probably we don't have to do that. But are you guys? I don't know if this is too controversial, but are you guys? What do you guys think about Captain Marvel? Are you guys going to see that movie?
No, I don't like MCU movies anymore.
Really? But they've
not
been
even
so good, though.
I haven't even seen Infinity War.
It was freaking good, dude. Oh my god. Infinity Wars was amazing. Black Panther was amazing. Spider-Man Homecoming was amazing. Thor Ragnarok was amazing. They've been just hitting on all cylinders.
The thing that I just don't like about the MCU movies is that they trade character development for jokes.
That's interesting. That's a fair point. They've only really done a little character development with a few of the characters like Iron Man and stuff.
Yeah. I think the only real character-driven movies are first Iron Man and the second Captain America, probably. The second Captain America is actually pretty good. It's one of my favorites.
The second one was great.
Winter Soldier is amazing. Yes.
Yeah, Winter Soldier is great. It's probably my favorite. That and Guardians. I think the only 2 movies that can be considered real, character-driven are those 2.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, I could see that. You are right. They do tend to do that. I mean, I think that they do that to draw on like a general audience and stuff. But I do see why yeah.
It's the Whedon effect.
It's yeah, pretty much. They found their model that works and they're sticking to it.
Yeah, at the sacrifice of character development.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We're entering in a new phase here, so it's who's to say how phase 4 will be.
They're losing all the.
I've noticed you're eerily quiet over there, Brett. I assume you're stewing on this a bit.
I'm just if the reception to Captain Marvel's anything to go by, I think people's feelings are starting to cool.
We'll see. I mean, we still have Endgame coming out next month.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I saw Weaponized Nerd Rage's video on it. Said like he called it like the worst MCU movie so far. He's a guy whose opinion I tend to trust. True.
I'm seeing it myself this Saturday, so I'll be able to judge for sure one way or another. Then, but
Endgame might be. It's possible Endgame might be the last good one.
Well, that's I don't know. I mean, there's another Spider-Man movie coming out this year.
Also true, but yeah, like I don't know. I mean, like I'm kind of more. I haven't really bothered going to see any of these movies in the theaters in a long while. But then again, like the last time I went to see a movie in the theater was it was the it was the live action Ghost in the Shell movie. Like that was like a year ago anyway. But it's like. I just haven't had time or money to go to the movies and
That's fair, yeah. Oh man.
Well, at least Ghost in the Shell wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Right.
In fact, I would say in some areas it was daring. Yeah, but there's this one theater I like to go to out in Lakewood that has cheaper tickets on Tuesdays.
Oh, so you get like a discount?
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, that's cool.
Like if I wasn't working on, if only I wasn't working on Tuesdays.
Yeah, you seem to work a lot. Is that true?
40
or is it just
hours.
that you? Oh, God.
40 hours.
Poor man.
40 hours in fucking retail.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I used to do work at Office Depot with Matt Bryant. And I worked there for a couple years, like a year and a half or so, and then I quit. I went to school, and then I came back and worked again for like a year. So yeah, I totally get you.
I'm about
It's
ready. Yeah, I'm about ready to quit my job and
Well,
be an electrician.
well, at least we know Wicked is going somewhere because it seems like a lot of there's some big successes that come out of people who came from Office Depot or Office Max.
really.
Yeah, like Monty Ohm.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Yeah. Oh, that's
He
cool.
did a lot of his work while working the evenings at Office Depot.
Oh, that's wild. That's so cool. Yeah, I loved his work on Red versus Blue, and all his stuff. Ruby too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That this if I get to the point where I'm making 3 comics, working on 3 comics simultaneously, that's when I can consider. That's when I'll actually consider quitting having a day job altogether because I would need that much time.
right.
Well, I'm working on 2 comics and editing 1.
Yeah, you find the time pretty much, right? If
Yep.
you somehow you find it, yeah.
I don't know.
That's why.
That's how I see it. Like I would have if I was working on 3 separate comics at once, like I would need to be doing that shit full time.
Is that how you do it, Canales? Are you working on them full time right now?
No, not really. I'm still at my part team.
Oh, really?
Beating
Okay.
people up.
Beating people up. That's a good way to blow off
probably
steam.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's the best part of my job. I'm allowed to beat the shit out of my customers.
Really, not a lot of industries that you can say that about,
I wish I could do that.
Right?
I know.
I remember.
I keep saying that even if I made enough money as an artist to live, full time off of this, I'm not sure if I ever would want to quit a job in which I'm allowed to beat the shit out of my customers when they annoy me.
Yeah, that's.
I think
give
my
that
dad
up.
I think my dad kind of instilled too good of a work ethic in myself. Like I'm not good at just sitting around and doing nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good. I'm envious of that because I'm very good at that.
Yeah, I think it's because my dad grew up on a ranch in Texas.
Oh, okay.
Obviously.
Yeah, that'll definitely do it.
Yeah, that's not an environment you want. That's not an environment you do well if you're a naturally lazy person. You got because like that's like I think that was a place where my dad like he was pretty much working from dawn till dusk. Like,
it's interesting that you mentioned that because I have the very same problem. I can't allow myself to be lazy. I hate myself if I'm lazy. And my dad also grew up in what's the Spanish equivalent of a ranch in La Mancha, like Don Quixote.
Nice.
He grew up around herding cows and stuff.
Yeah, no, that was his lifestyle too. Working dusk till dawn. He was a shepherd too. He had to take the sheep out to the mountain, feed them, and all the the
wow,
usual
really?
stuff.
Yeah, my dad grew up around cattle. In fact, when he was in high school, because my dad he grew up in Amarillo. In Amarillo, they got an auction house really big. He actually took one of the cattle he raised, sold it there for $3,000, which in the 70s that was a lot of money.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Jeez, I mean that's those kind of properties are worth a lot, aren't they?
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, he sold a cow he raised for $3,000, and like I said, it was like he was in high school. So he was in high school. It was the 70s, so yeah, a lot of money.
More.
A lot of money back then.
Heck yeah. Well, guys, I grew up near an open field, so it was completely bare. It was completely open, and it was next to a train track. So, no, just kidding. I'm just playing around.
Actually, one of my dad's other jobs when he was living on the ranch, he had to work in the slaughterhouse.
Ooh.
Yikes!
He had to clean it out, and he said it smelled like death.
Oh, well then.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, that's not a smell you want to smell. I can tell you that for sure. Eesh.
Yeah, that's not something you want to. smell ever again.
That's like a horror. That's a horror comic waiting to be written. I remember it reminds me of an old Hellblazer issue. One of the ones that terrified me. One of the ones that really terrified me the most. It was about this young boy, and his like father was a butcher, and it was just so and he was this asshole guy. But the whole issue was just so disgustingly creepy, dude. It was terrifying.
Who wrote this one?
I want to say Garth Ennis. It's either Jamie Delano. No, I think it was. No, I take that back. I think it was Jamie Delano, the original guy, the first guy who did it.
Because Jamie Delano is the creepy one. Garth Ennis was more of the violent, most humorous one, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
The stuff he got going on Preacher, but Jamie Delano was really like psychological.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
a lot of because now that I look back on it, even though people say like Garth Ennis's run was the best, there's not a lot of supernatural in his run. Like a lot of it seems more to deal with John Constantine's personal problems.
Yeah, you know the
That's
thing
the
is,
new
if you first read Preacher as I did and then moved on to Garth Ennis's Hellblazer, you realize that it's almost bad compared to Jamie Delano because it's like Preacher like. You know, most of the issues that he touched on Preacher were already on his Hellblazer run, but they weren't as developed. So
Actually, a lot of the stuff he used in Hellblazer, he used in Preacher, was basically stuff he recycled from his Hellblazer run, but just kind of refined it.
Totally. I mean, you get the whole angel demon baby. That's a straight rip right there.
Like I said, the only difference is in Preacher, he kind of refined the ideas more because now he had space to kind of do whatever he wanted with them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's.
I will say.
I was gonna say. I think it's fair to assume. I was gonna say. I think it's fair to assume. Like when he was working on Hellblazer, there were some editorial constraints he had. Like they said, like you can. Like there were things he was told he could and couldn't do on it.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I got to say canon, right? But you know, I really actually loved Garth Ennis's run on Hellblazer. And because something he did that Jamie Delano didn't really touch on too much was he focused on the and maybe this is because of Preacher, but he focused on Christian mythology a lot. So you got to see a lot of the angel stuff and what's going on with heaven and in hell, you know, those kind of sides of things. Whereas Jamie Delano dealt a lot more with the supernatural horror more often.
I mean, like I said, I think I will say this, though. I think what really what Garth Ennis really did well with Hellblazer is he's more or less kind of set the tone for how John Constantine should be portrayed.
I think him and Jamie kind of both were kind of, I think, the two main guys who did that. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And he definitely swears a lot better than Jamie Delano, I have to say.
Oh yeah, of course he does. He's Irish. we made cursing into an art form.
That's awesome. Oh man. But I found that issue, and just in case anyone was curious about it, it's Hellblazer issue 37 by Jamie Delano. Yeah. It says plot summary: Mercury makes friends with Martin, a delicate young lad whose meat-obsessed father is making his life a misery. Yeah, it's freaking creepy. I'll tell you that right now.
Honestly, the what would probably be peak Hellblazer is if someone could marry the creepy atmosphere of Jamie Delano's run with the human drama from Garth Ennis's.
That's an interesting point.
The creepiest motherfucker to ever write Hellblazer was probably Grant Morrison in the Newcastle book. I don't know if you guys read it.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Was John Morrison, you said?
Grant Morrison.
Grant Morrison. Yeah, definitely. I read. He had a short run on the series, right?
Yeah, but isn't Grant Morrison's thing that he just delves into the weird?
Yeah.
Something that I really love.
Just weird like that.
Well, something I noticed because Hellblazer is my favorite comics. I'm always like thinking about the different writers and stuff. And something I noticed about his run was he did a lot of ghost stories. And that kind of side of supernatural, which I thought was cool. He has one of his best ones is called Haunted, I believe. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's awesome. Grant Morrison's a really cool writer too.
Yeah,
it's
go ahead.
also really funny how there's this apparent feud between him and Alan Moore.
Really?
Say what?
Apparently, they don't like each other.
Interesting.
Okay.
Are they both?
I don't know. Does Alan Moore like anybody?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like Neil Gaiman.
Yeah, that's because who does Neil Gaiman like anybody? No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
Neil
Neil
not
Gaiman
quite
likes
as-
everyone. I
Yeah,
think.
Neil Gaiman's the nice guy. He's not as nihilistic as Alan Moore.
I mean, Neil Gaiman has still like some of hope in humanity and the universe, but
Definitely, yeah.
he keeps recycling Labyrinth time and time again, which is what makes him a bit, boring in my eyes.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, he should really stop writing Labyrinth time and time again. We get it. We like that movie.
Damn.
That's enough.
If I
Yeah,
can
that's
else
funny.
calling out Neil Gaiman.
Right?
I don't
That's
think he
funny.
likes me because I drew a comic for SAG, so I think I'm in his uncool league now. So
Probably, yeah.
I can say that without a bad conscience.
But Sandman, I think it was his, definitely his best work for sure.
Oh yes, so that's my favorite comic of all time.
Yeah, I need to finish it. I got kind of bogged down on volume 8, and I just haven't picked it up since then. I don't know why, but I need to finish. I'm only 3 volumes away from finishing it.
I think I think the writers that we just talked about is also the reason why that a lot of comic writers don't seem like they're doing that well, because they're trying to imitate them.
You mean
That's
trying to?
Yeah, you know what? Now that I think Matt's onto something, because I've heard like one criticism I've heard leveled at Tom King is that Tom King is good when he writes superheroes as heroic. He's bad when he tries to do the whole Alan Moore deconstruction thing.
So, that's interesting. That's actually a really good point, because I was actually just reading a snippet from an article. I have it from in a book form from Avatar Press. It's called Alan Moore on Writing Comics, and one of the first things he says on the first page is that he said he would never want to write something that even hinted at being close to something like how to write comics the Alan Moore way. And he was saying when Marvel introduced the how to draw comics the Marvel way, he was saying that was just the stupidest thing, because no one should want to try and copy Alan Moore's writing style. He says we don't need any more writers like that any more than we need people who are drawing like Marvel draws,
I think Alan Moore feels slightly subconsciously guilty of having, destroyed comic books as he liked them when he was a kid, because it was him and Frank Miller who ripped the innocence of comic books, or at least completely killed it in the 80s. With,
Oh yeah,
after Watchmen, there was no going back to how comic books were.
yeah. Frank Miller, I can definitely attest to that on Frank Miller, because there's like a quote from him in this one Daredevil documentary where he said, "I got into comics to make them more like movies. I have stayed in comics in order to make them less so."
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, Watchmen was the first adult comic I read growing up, so definitely, I see what you mean about that.
My first was probably Hellraiser. There you go.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I remember buying an old Hellraiser trade paperback in a flea market when I was a kid, around I don't know, maybe 13 years old, something like that.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's the kind of childhood I had.
Right, I was gonna say that's a good one to start with, man. You're just going straight to 11, man, right from the first thing.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
Gotta say though, the old epic comic books were really good. Nightwing, Hellraiser, and all that. And I don't know if you guys remember them from the late 80s, early 90s.
Which one?
Epic comic books. Epic Comics.
Epic Comics?
Yeah.
No, I can't say that I'm familiar with them.
It was like at the time it was like Marvel's adult subsidiary. They were like putting out like really adult takes on, like Electro Assassin.
Oh wow, and they're creator owned. Creator owned.
Yeah,
they were a creator owned company in 1982.
Yeah. Like Martial Law, for example. Martial Law is one of my favorite comics, and they came under the Epic Impact. So yeah, they were trying like doing like Image before Image was cool.
Wow.
and they had Hellraiser and stuff like that, and they were really good. They were, up there with Watchmen in my opinion.
Oh, really?
Go
Oh,
check them
wow.
out if you can, if you have the chance, if you can, find them in eBay or whatever. Go check them out because they're really good.
It's funny because Hellraiser is it's funny that do you know what that's actually based on?
You mean the movie?
Well, the movie and the whole property in general. It's actually based on a book by Clive Barker called The Hellbound Heart.
Yeah. No, I read it. It's a really good book.
Yes,
Good book.
it is. Oh, yes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I love that book, man. I'm a big horror fan.
Couldn't tell.
Yeah. No, when I was a kid, Clive Barker and Stephen King were like the big two. Everyone else was trying to imitate too.
Yeah, no, you're right. That makes a lot of sense, and it's amazing to see that they're still writing these even today. So we don't actually have another segment today. Looks like we're gonna be the last segment today, so we can go for a little while. Or I know what you guys have planned today. What are you guys up to?
I got work in about an hour and a half.
Okay, so you probably got to get ready for that.
Be a good idea, yeah.
Okay, what about you? By what time is it where you're at?
Well, it's 8:06 p.m. Probably.
So you're probably not
Crazy,
gonna
huh?
get started for your day here.
I'm living in the future. I'm bringing you news from the future.
Oh, thank God! Please tell me it's good news.
Well, so far nobody died, so I think that's good news.
Good. Yeah, we dodged a bullet on that one.
So yeah, I should probably go and do some drawing because I have pending commissions plus
Nice.
Zach's new comic. So
That's excellent.
yeah, I think I'll go do that. Leave you fine gentlemen to your own.
That sounds great. And then why don't we let everyone know where we can find everyone and where what you got going, just briefly what you got going on and where you can find you online. Sorry.
Okay. Actually, before we go, can I at least is it all right if I plug something for a friend?
Our plug away.
Yeah, and this is actually someone who's actually very close to me and Matt because she actually did some good work for us. This is for our mutual friend Los Leonor. She's currently in a bit of a financial bind due to some bullshit with the IRS. Hashtag defund the Fed.
I agree.
Yeah, so while she's getting that sorted out, she's got to go fund me to sort of get her out of this bind. It's a 750 goal. She's currently got a third of it right now, so I'm gonna post it in the chat.
I just posted it.
Yep. Yeah, post it in the chat and just put down $15. She will do some. He will do a special commission for you. I put money down in it myself. And actually looking through people who've donated. So is Matt and Aaron. So yeah, Matt and I we love Lenny. We want to help her out, especially considering that. I mean, she's not just a good friend. She did a lot of good work for the Mythoverse. She designed our logo, and we owe it to her.
Yeah,
Yep.
that sounds good. Yeah, I mean it sounds like she really needs it right now. So definitely check that out and support if you can.
Sorry, is there any way of contributing to the GoFundMe without a credit card? Because last time I tried to use them, it completely fucked it up. I don't know why.
She has her PayPal. Let me pull that up.
Yeah, sure.
Let me get that up. But yeah, she's. Yeah, I know it's in here somewhere. It'll take me a while, but I'll find it. Matt, why don't you just do some plugging?
All right.
What do you got?
So I've got, as we all know, we've got a Mythoverse Instagram account where we update with artwork. Currently, we're at just 165 followers. Wow, really? But yeah, if you want to see more art from us on a more consistent basis, it might be just good to go there. You can find me at Matt Trin, where I'll be plugging for Mythics. quite a bit, and other projects I'm working on, like McKinnon Chronicles, which I know I haven't been talking about lately, but I've got a special surprise coming up on that front.
Ooh, yay! Can't wait for that. I love McKinnon Chronicles.
And pretty sure that's it.
And then, what about you, Ibai? Is there any way to follow you other than just stalking you in Spain?
I think you can sacrifice a goat during a full moon, and I'll just materialize out of thinner. I will manifest myself, but yeah, you can follow me on Gap. If people
what is
do
that now?
that. Gap, something, that the frog network, the fascist frog network.
I think I've heard of that one. Yeah, I think I've been there.
I'm taking along with Alex Jones and all the right-wing psychos like that. It's really great.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't get caught up in that lawsuit, with them.
Hey, that's free publicity, man. So you never know.
There you go.
By the way, I dug up the link to Lenny's PayPal. I posted it in Discord and on the group chat and in the chat over here. So if you can't do GoFundMe, she'll accept PayPal donations too.
Awesome. So yeah, I'll thank her because I tried to contribute to Zach's GoFundMe twice, and twice somehow ruined my credit card. It made it useless. I don't know why. So yeah, I'll think.
That's strange, huh?
Yeah, I don't know why. So yeah, speaking of where to find me, you can find me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, like old people are. And Gap. I have a YouTube channel, which I'm right here at Canalus in the comment section.
Let me see if I can. I'm gonna post your Facebook, and then here we go. Cool, and follow him there. Yeah. And what was the other link you said?
I'm sorry?
Did you say another link as well?
Oh, yeah, no, I was going to say that Back the Abductables, which is live on Indiegogo right now.
Yeah.
It's real fun. I have life drawing it because it's a massive muscle-bound motherfucker killing tons of little gray men. So yeah, it's real fun and you're gonna enjoy it. Go back.
There it is. And I suppose I'll go ahead and plug just a few things. I'm working on the comic Barrels with Jeff Lasley. We have the first issue up at the store right now, and the second issue coming out very soon. We just got reviewed on the Comic Central podcast, so go check that out and let's take a listen. It was a pretty cool review. And one thing I want to say is that I'll post a link to the store here that we have on our online store. And throughout this week and next week, we're doing a contest where if you have already bought barrels or if you purchase barrels in this weeks leading up, you'll be entered in to win a free custom commission of your choice from Jeff Lasley. So if you're a big fan of Jeff's art, you'll get a chance to get a piece of your choice and paid for by Wikid Publishing. So I look forward to that. And follow me at Nub Guy personally. Follow us at Wikid Publishing for all our good stuff. Mm-hmm. And dude, we're good. Yeah, I think that's it. The website, you can follow through there on the Wikid, and definitely check out these guys. Indiegogo's coming out. There's going to be really exciting. The Mythoverse, and all the ones we talked about in today's podcast, Movie Men, and even Scott's Wrath. So we got a lot of good stuff coming up. So thanks again, guys, for joining us. I'm gonna let you guys go. I know you guys got some things to get to. But,
I got something to say first.
Sure, yeah, go for it, man.
I was just checking my timeline, and Nerd Wonder just quote tweeted a new Shazam spot where it's him trying to says, "I want to buy your finest beer," and then he and fuck, who's the cripple kid? They just spit it out, and he says, like, "This tastes like actual vomit." I'm thinking to myself, that was my reaction the first time I had beer when I was 17.
Nah, that's hilarious. That movie does look good. I love that it's he's a kid. I mean that makes it perfect.
I'm just thinking to myself,
that's a good reaction. Yeah,
that was my reaction when I first had it.
I believe that was my similar reaction the first time I had beer. Although I was much old. Well, no, I think I was about I guess I was 18. It was when I went to college, but
I was 17. The context for this was my dad bought a bottle of Cherrywood Lager to baste a turkey in for Thanksgiving, and he let me and my brother have a sip just to find out what it was like.
Well, there's your problem right there. You were sipping Cherrywood Lager.
Yeah, I know. That's
your first drink.
That's what I found. I later found out that that's actually terrible beer. Then I got hooked on Dos Equis and Guinness.
Oh, really? Mine is I go through beers. I was for a while I was a Newcastle guy, but now I'm into the Michelob Ultra. Those are pretty good. What about you, Canels? What do you drink?
He's Spanish. They have wine.
I believe it was Cuba Libre, right?
No. I will have rum and cola, please.
Rum and cola. Okay.
I thought Spain was famous for its vineyards.
On the rocks?
Yes, please. And
Nice.
we're actually famous for our sangria outside, in foreign lands.
Really?
Yeah, I don't really like
Sangria
sangria. I'm more of a rum and cola guy because it goes really well with my chocolate cigarillos.
Nah.
I get it.
Nice, man. That's good.
But I am right that Spain is famous for its vineyards.
That's also true. That's also true. We have lots of those down there in La Rioja.
And then finally, Matt, what's your favorite drink?
I actually don't drink a whole lot because my family has alcoholics in the history, so I try not to drink. If it's something that's worth celebrating, such as I'm pretty sure that when we get funded on Kickstarter, I'll probably have something.
Maybe a little champagne.
Maybe
champagne.
I'm getting him a good whiskey.
I just ordered some moonshine. They take these fruits and they soak them in moonshine. And just ordered some jars of that.
You haven't lived till you've had proper 12 whiskey.
Really? You're a whiskey man, huh?
Just for perspective, Michael, proper 12 is Conor McGregor's personal brand.
Who's Conor McGregor?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Dead silence.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Get out of my swamp.
That's his. Proper 12. That's his personal brand.
Who? No, but I'm serious. Who is that guy? I'm not
MMA fighter.
Irish MMA fighter with a big mouth.
Who?
The Irish MMA fighter with a big mouth. The guy who was gonna box Floyd Mayweather, and everyone said he was gonna break his streak.
Oh, that guy! I saw him on Twitter.
All the things that you need to know about Conor McGregor are on the Flash Kids YouTube video.
Right. Okay.
You put Conor McGregor Flash Kids on YouTube. It will explain everything.
Yeah, I know something about that. I know something about that fight.
Wow.
There were people who said that it was a Trump supporter losing against a Hillary Clinton supporter, but Floyd Mayweather voted for Trump, and Conor McGregor voted for Hillary Clinton.
No, he did. He can't vote. He's not a U.S. citizen.
Well, he's a supporter. Sorry.
He can't vote in the U.S. election.
He's a supporter.
He hacked it. He hacked it.
Well, they probably tried to stop him from voting, but he beat the shit out of everyone. And just
Dude, did you see? I saw the one clip I did see was Mayweather went to Japan to fight this dude and just knocked his ass out in like real fast, like 40 seconds fast.
Yeah. So you see those guys. You see whoever's at the voting precincts. You know they're not gonna last long. Yeah, but
that's funny.
Yeah.
Well,
Trump
yeah.
Versus Hillary Clinton supporter.
I could swear though. Yeah, funny because I could swear though. I found an interview on CNN where they were trying to grill him on Trump, and Connor's response was, "I don't care."
Well, apparently someone took him as a Hillary Clinton supporter. which is kind of it was. I have a feeling that he was probably that what probably happened was the same thing that Jesse Ventura did to William Shatner when Shatner said that he'd support Hillary Clinton despite protesting that he's Canadian. He's not political.
Yeah, I just have to ask him. Like I said, Connor's Irish. He's a fucking millionaire several times over. Why would he care who's president?
Well,
it doesn't affect him. It doesn't affect him.
Well, Texas.
Canals is like I don't know what you guys are talking about really.
No. I know.
You follow this shit?
Jesse Ventura is. Of course,
You
I know.
follow
He's the
shit?
minigun guy from Predator. How would I not know who Jesse Ventura is?
Fuck. Oh, that's true. That's true.
You guys forget that I'm an American already.
He also became governor of Minnesota. In case you want to know how
He also has a really
crazy
funny
that state is.
voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fun.
And
I can also make a pretty good impression of Jesse Ventura.
Can you really? Do it again?
I'm Jesse Ventura.
Nice.
Lies, corruption.
That's hilarious, dude. I love it.
He's basically the wrestler Alex Jones.
Yeah, I could see that.
Don't drink enough whiskey to sound like Alex Jones yet.
All right, I'm coming up on an hour till I gotta leave, so I'm gonna tap out, guys.
I think I think we'll all just call it a day there, and
Yeah, we got a little distracted.
Sorry about it. I wanted to ask about drinks, and one thing led to another, and
I feel like I'm gonna say that was my fault. All right, I'll take it at this point.
There you go.
fine.
Let's all blame Brett. Yeah.
We have good company.
All right,
here.
guys. Well, you have a good day and night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Talk to you guys
Later,
later.
guys.
Take
Peace
care,
out.
guys.